Welcome to chapter 15. The past chapter in 14, we saw where Samson decided to take a wife from the Philistines, non-Jews, which was forbidden by God for his people. But yet he decided to go after his flesh and find a woman that pleased him, looks or whatever. And it happens so often that we are taken away from what we are supposed to do by a lure of Satan or the flesh and so forth, to do something that we shouldn't do. It's so easy. And so here it begins, and it says, and we'll see the repercussions for this. And it came to pass after some days, at the days of the wheat harvest, that Samson visited his wife, carrying a kid of the goats. So his wife was given over to his best friend by the father of the wife. And now later, it doesn't have the time with how long of a period of time went between in this book. Pretty much time, you can only guess how long it would be, and by the context. But here, it's pretty hard to say, but he decides to go back. It says, and he said, I shall enter to my wife into the bedroom. The ketona, koitos, comes from that word. But her father would not grant him to enter. So he went back, and the father, he wanted to take her back as a wife and have relations with her, but the father stopped it. And her father, pater, paternal is a derivative, said, in saying, I said that by detesting, you detested her, and I gave her to your companion. And behold, is not her sister, her younger sister, better than she? Let her be to you instead of her. So the father gave the woman to his best friend, and apparently it was difficult to break them up in any way for the woman to go back to Samson. So the father offered the sister, his sister-in-law, to Samson, and says, and Samson said to him, I am innocent this once concerning the Philistines, that I myself should do evils with you. So basically, tit for tat. You did something bad for me. I'm going to be, if I do something against you, then this is the way it is. And Samson went and seized 300 foxes, and triakosius in Greek, and in Hebrew it's 3 is shalosh, number 7969 in the Strong's Hebrew Bible, and mea is 139:67. So 300 foxes. And now I don't know how he could get 300 foxes, and he took lampadas, lamps, and tied them together tail to tail, the foxes, and put one lamp between the two tails. So he set it on fire. Some type of way of doing that, and guided them. How he did this exactly, as you can only imagine. They probably made in the movies that Hollywood made, come up with some idea. But he kindled fire in the lamps, and he sent them out into the ears of the Philistines. Now, and people that love animals would say this is a very, very cruel thing to do, which I agree. It is cruel things to do. But the Bible, people are cruel, much crueler than people in a civilized society that we have today, in certain ways. In other ways, they're not. I look at a lot of people would say, the poor animals, but yet a lot of liberals, or people I call liberal, they're feel sorry for the animals, wouldn't think twice about aborting a baby. So, but the times, they've changed, and animals now, dogs especially, people walk them, and that's sort of bizarre to see so many people walking dogs and picking up their poop. I mean, if people saw that back probably in the time of the Philistines and saw us, the things that we do, they would think that this is unbelievable that people would go that low to do something like walking a dog and picking up its excrement. And it continues, and he burned the ears of wheat from the threshing floor and unto the straight standing ears of wheat, and unto the vineyard and the olive grove, set it all on fire. And the Philistines said, Who did these things? And they said, Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he took his wife and gave her to his male companion. And the Philistines ascended up and burnt her, the wife, and the house of her father by fire. And Samson said to them, Well, since you should do this, I shall not think well, but I will execute my vengeance from out of each one of you. And he struck them shank unto thigh with a great beating, mega. And he went down and sat at the hole in the rock. Now how many he struck, it doesn't say here. And now where the hole of the rock is uncertain, someplace in Palestine area. And the Philistines ascended and camped in Judah and cast forth about Lehi. So here is Lehi over here, Jerusalem. And so they went into Judah, and they camped right around Lehi, which is there on the map. And every man of Judah said to them, Well, why have you ascended against us? And the Philistines said, We ascended to tie up Samson and to do to him in which manner he did to us. And 3,000 men from out of Judah went down unto the hole of the rock of Etam. And they said to Samson, Well, do you not behold that the Philistines do not dominate us? Then why did you do these things to us? And Samson said to them, Well, in which manner they did to me, so I did to them. And they said to him, Well, we came down to tie you, to deliver you up into the hands of the Philistines. And Samson said to them, Well, swear to me by an oath to not kill me yourselves, that lest at any time you should meet up with me yourselves. And they swore by an oath to him, saying, No, but only by a bond will we tie you. No, we won't kill you, for we should deliver you up into their hands, but to death we will not kill you. And they tied him with 2 new ropes, and they bore him from out of the rock. And he came unto Seagonos, unto Jaw, which was Lehi. And the Philistines shouted and ran to meet him. And Spirit of the Lord straitened upon him, and the ropes in his arms became as hemp when fire smells, and the bonds melted away from his arms. Hemp, stipion, stipion is hemp. Hemp is basically cannabis, where people get marijuana, pot, from. So if you've been around people that smoke pot, I'm sure you probably know what it smells like. Imagine this is what they were smelling because of these hemp ropes. Now, hemp ropes were used in the United States early Navy for ships. I'm not sure how long, maybe 100 years or more. They used hemp ropes because it's very, very strong for big, huge ships. And the ropes would be, 2 or 3 inches in diameter, sometimes that big. And he found a jawbone of a donkey having been tossed. He's on the ground, and he stretched out his hand and took it and struck with it 1,000 men. Now, that's hard to believe how one man could strike 1,000 men. Now, it doesn't say he killed them all. He struck at 1,000 men. I don't know. But he was a strong man, and he definitely took on a gargantuan task of coming against these 1,000 Philistines. And Samson said, well, by the jawbone of a donkey, in wiping away, I wiped them away. So he used this donkey's jawbone as a weapon. For by the jawbone of the donkey I struck 1,000 men. And it came to pass when he finished speaking that he tossed the jawbone from his hand and called that place removal of the jaw. Now, that could be around Lehi there. And he thirsted exceedingly and yelled to the Lord and said, you gave by the hand of your bondman this great deliverance, and now shall I die in thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised? And God opened the gash, the one in jaw, in Lehi, and there came forth from out of it waters. And he drank, and his spirit was restored, and he lived. Now here we have his spirit, not God's spirit. There's different kinds of spirits in the Bible, evil spirits, spirits of certain behaviors, generally bad, so forth. Because of this, its name is called Spring of the Calling Upon, which is in Jaw, Lehi, until this day. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines, or Steins, 20 years. And that makes for a 60-year period of time that went by. And we have 350 years total after the last judge, Abdon. And here we have 60 years, so now we're at 410. And it says he judged, so that makes him a judge. But the story of Samson doesn't just end here. It continues, and we'll find out exactly what happened with Samson in this next chapter, chapter 16, famous story. Hope you'll join us. Until then, God bless.